Why solar panels suck. Better than wind turbines, but that's not very difficult. Here's why solar panels suck. Solar factories are being rolled out across the UK at an unprecedented rate. Mad Miliband wants them all over prime farmland, and now even waterways are being targeted. None of this destruction of our food-growing land and nature needs to happen. It is so far from green and is detached from environmentally friendly in every way. The only thing that sucks more are wind turbines. Solar factories require massive amounts of land. We are seeing the destruction of our beautiful countryside in the name of more solar factories. Massive resistance is building across the country as local residents band together to stop the rollout of solar factories. Resistance is proving quite effective, although some areas are facing challenges. We recently saw a massive win for County Durham, who defeated a solar factory installation for good. Whilst residents in Norfolk are having a more difficult time with the Block East Pi Solar Group receiving multiple letters to homeowners with solar factory companies trying to force the selling of their homes. Shocking statistics reveal that about 2/3 of the land used for solar factories is premium farmland, but that's not enough to satisfy the climate cult. To meet the UK's climate cult net zero goals by 2035, the government aims to increase solar capacity to 45 to 57 gigawatt by 2030, up from 18.1 gigawatts in March 2025, with an ambition of 70 gigawatts by 2035. Currently, ground-mounted solar farms cover about 21,200 hectares of the UK. Estimates suggest that achieving 70 gigawatts could require up to 0.3 to 0.4% of the total land in the UK, approximately 70,000 to 97,000 hectares, with ground-mounted solar accounting for about 48 gigawatts, needing roughly 70,000 to 170,000 hectares. The planned land use for solar factories depends on deployment scenarios and whether rooftop solar reduces the need for ground-mounted systems. These figures are not definitive, as grid capacity, planning permissions and local resistance will influence actual land use. The next reason why solar factories suck is they are nearly all made in China. Without China's coal-fired power plants, the solar panel fantasy fades. Over 80% of all solar panels manufactured come from China. China overwhelmingly relies on hydrocarbons for their energy and continues to build 2 new coal-fired power plants every week. Whilst the UK and the West cripple themselves with a renewable delusion, China seems ahead. We are kneecapping ourselves and our society for no good reason. China processes approximately 60% of the world's lithium. China has been securing vertical integration across mining, processing and battery manufacturing, whilst raw lithium is sourced globally from the lithium triangle of Argentina, Chile and Bolivia. China's refining capacity gives it to 58 to 62% share of global processing, and lithium plays a crucial role in the broader ecosystem of solar energy systems, particularly through its use in lithium-ion batteries, which are widely employed for storing the electricity generated by solar panels. And here we have a lithium mine, and we were left wondering if the label of green energy for solar panels just means the colour of the mines, because they look very green. In one way it's kind of pretty, but then you realise how toxic must all of this be, and how destroyed is the land to be in this state with this very bright green, yellow, whatever that is, coloured mines. There are some UK manufacturers like GB Sol, so if solar panels are to be purchased for use in the UK, it makes sense to use companies based here at least. The next reason is intermittency. Just like wind turbines, solar panels are intermittent in their power generation. They're slightly more predictable, as in we know when the sun's going to come up or down. However, there's one big factor, and that is obviously the cloud cover. Just like how we can't control the wind, we can't control the sunshine. And of course, they generate no power at night. The UK has had a wicked spring and summer this year, but most of the time this place is cloudy with little sunlight. Not ideal for solar power. The odd solar panel on someone's roof for personal use makes sense. It's a primitive starting point for a lot of people going off-grid, for example. However, trying to rely on this for powering an ever-increasingly energy-hungry society is madness. Batteries aren't the answer either. The current battery technology requires too much land and is too expensive. Batteries are impractical for long-term storage due to capacity, cost and resource limits. For example, Powering the UK for 15 minutes would require 171 Tesla megapacks, costing £300 million and taking up 0.5 hectares. That's for 15 minutes. For just 24 hours, 246,154 megapacks costing 450 billion and needing 738 hectares would be required. Seasonal solar variability, especially in winter, demands far larger storage, straining global material supplies. Batteries suit short-term soothing, but high costs and land needs make them insufficient alone, and ultimately we can't rely on solar power. Then there's a big problem here, and that's ground contamination. You can see here, this is what happens when there's a big storm and all the solar panels are destroyed and all of the toxic chemicals within them are smashed into the ground, and the ground beneath them is then basically toxic waste. And obviously if this was once ever a land for growing food, it shall never be ever again. The rush to install solar panels on prime farmlands, driven by the climate change narrative, overlooks a critical issue: chemical runoff and leaching that can render fertile soil unusable for food production. Solar panels, often hailed as green, can contain toxic materials like cadmium, lead and selenium, particularly in thin film technologies such as cadmium telluride. Over their 20 to 30 year lifespan, these panels degrade, especially under harsh weather conditions like hailstorms or hurricanes, which can crack or shatter them, releasing these hazardous substances into the soil. It's quite a risk for what would otherwise be fertile food-producing land. Not only in the event of a storm damaging the panels, they can leach over time, and the land beneath solar panels often cannot be reclaimed for agriculture ever again like it once was. It may take years of regenerating practice and intensive remediation and grading of the ground before anything like a fraction of its previous productivity may be restored. Landowners frequently have the experience of discovering that once fertile land is irreparably disfigured. And here's a testimony from a farmer in the USA. Brian Tate Mayo Jr., family farmer and small-town mayor of Tarboro, North Carolina, has watched as acre after acre of his neighborhood's farms has gone to solar panels. And here's his quote: "If you were to take a field out of solar, the infrastructure that's put in the ground to support the panels, the concrete and the galvanized metal these things sit on, they're going to leach zinc into the ground. The galvanized metal under the surface can result in high readings of zinc in soil samples. Zinc may be an essential micronutrient, but if too much leaches into the soil, there's no way of getting it out." Constraint payments, just like wind turbines, but not as bad just yet. Solar panels are being paid to do nothing when there's too much electricity being generated. Solar panels sometimes make too much electricity for the grid to handle, so we pay them to stop. Insane, and a very big reason why our solar factories suck and they're little more than a green delusion. Although the price tag for paying solar factories to switch off is far lower than the projected $1 billion plus per year for wind turbines by 2030, the insanity has started and will only continue to increase if we install more solar factories. We're starting the bidding at £100,000 for the period of February to June 2025, and who knows how high paying solar factories will go. And then there's the fire risk. Solar panels and their associated battery storage systems pose fire risks that can have serious consequences. Solar panels can ignite due to faulty wiring, poor installation or manufacturing defects, with arcing or overheating causing fires. In the UK, fire incidents involving solar systems aren't common but are increasing as installations grow, with over 1,000 cases reported since 2015, including a fire on top of a primary school building this year. Lithium-ion batteries, commonly used for storing solar energy, are particularly hazardous. Overcharging, physical damage or thermal runaway, where batteries overheat uncontrollably, can lead to intense fires that are difficult to extinguish and release toxic fumes like hydrogen fluoride. Overall, solar factories suck. If people want to put solar panels in their houses, then for personal use, it seems okay. However, trying to power entire countries is insane and will never work because of all the reasons mentioned. Not environmentally friendly, unreliable, and take up way too much land. Losing massive amounts of premium farmland to solar factories will be seen as one of the biggest blunders the UK made in the early 21st century, and we've made plenty. When there are still an abundance of hydrocarbons to play with and promising small modular reactor technology, we do not need to destroy the countryside for more solar factories. Oh, and of course, none of this is taking into account if these crazy climate cultists actually try and dim the sun.